السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. في هذه المحاضرة هنتكلم عن cartilage. The objectives of this lecture is to identify the structure and function of the cartilage tissue, to identify the different forms of the cartilage, and to explain the cartilage formation, growth, and repair. The contents will be cartilage, hyaline cartilage, matrix, chondrocytes, perichondrium, elastic cartilage, and fibrocartilage, and cartilage formation, growth, and repair. The cartilage generally consists of chondrocytes, which are located in lacunae, matrix cavities, and extracellular matrix ecem. There are three forms of cartilage that vary in matrix composition: the hyaline cartilage, the elastic cartilage, and the fibrocartilage. We will discuss each one of these in the following slides. The hyaline cartilage is the most common form, and type 2 collagen is the principal collagen type in this cartilage. The second form is the elastic cartilage, and it possesses abundant elastic fibers in addition to collagen type 2. The third form is the fibrocartilage, and it's characterized by a matrix containing a dense network of coarse type 1 collagen fibers. So the fibrocartilage differs from the previous two in that it contains dense coarse fibers of type 1 collagen. In all three forms, the hyaline, elastic, and fibrocartilage, the cartilage is avascular and receives nutrients by diffusion from capillaries in adjacent connective tissue. The adjacent connective tissue is perichondrium, and we will see in the coming slides what do we mean by perichondrium. The first type of cartilage is the hyaline cartilage. It is the most common of the three forms and is homogeneous and semi-transparent in the fresh state. It's homogeneous and semi-transparent in fresh state، يعني in fresh tissue يكون شبه شفاف و homogeneous. In this image on the right side, this is an image of hyaline cartilage. P stands for perichondrium, and M for matrix, C for the cells of hyaline cartilage. They are called chondrocytes. In adults, hyaline cartilage is found in the following: the articular surfaces of movable joints, and in the respiratory passages in the nose, larynx, trachea, and bronchi, in the costal cartilages, and in the epiphyseal plates of long bones. So it's found in joints, okay, and in the respiratory passage in the wall of nose, larynx, trachea, and bronchi. The costal cartilages are the ventral ends of the ribs, and the epiphyseal plates of long bones, or hyaline cartilage. In embryo, the hyaline cartilage forms the temporary skeleton, which later develops into mature bone. So in embryo, the hyaline cartilage forms the temporary skeleton. Let's discuss the matrix of the hyaline cartilage. The dry weight of hyaline cartilage is 40% collagen embedded in a firm, hydrated gel of proteoglycans and structural glycoproteins. So the matrix forms a dry weight of hyaline cartilage is 40% collagen embedded in hydrated gel of what? Proteoglycans and glycoproteins. In routine histologic preparations, the proteoglycans cause the matrix to be generally basophilic. Okay, and thin collagen fibrils are barely discernible, يعني barely identified in the sections, histological sections. So the proteoglycans, they make the matrix to be basophilic. Most of the collagen in hyaline cartilage is type 2 collagen. As we see in this image, histological section of hyaline cartilage. In A, it is a higher magnification of hyaline cartilage, as we see this perichondrium, and these are the chondrocytes. Okay, and this M is a matrix found between the cells. As we see, the cells are found inside matrix cavities called lacunae. On the right side also we see perichondrium matrix, this region, and we see this aggregation of cells of the chondrocytes. They are found inside lacunae. The matrix also consists of aggrecan, which is the most abundant proteoglycan of hyaline cartilage, the most abundant of the proteoglycans in the hyaline cartilage. Hundreds of these aggrecan proteoglycans are bound non-covalently by link proteins to long polymers of hyaluronic acid. So, باختصار الأجريكان is hundreds of these aggregans are linked to long polymers of hyaluronic acid. Aggrecan bound to hyaluronic acid. These proteoglycan complexes bind further to the surface of type 2 collagen fibrils, water bound to GAGs stands for glycosaminoglycans. From the previous lectures, we mentioned it in the connective tissue. Glycosaminoglycans. Water bound to glycosaminoglycans in the proteoglycans constitutes up to 60 to 80% of the weight of fresh hyaline cartilage. Another important component of cartilage matrix is structural multi-adhesive glycoprotein chondronectin. في السلايد اللي قبلها اتكلمنا عن الأجريكان وإنه هو linked للong polymers of hyaluronic acid. هنا في another important component هو chondronectin. Agrican hyaluronic acid chondronectin, which is chondronectin is multi-adhesive glycoprotein. Chondronectin is similar to fibronectin, as we remember in the connective tissue. The chondronectin binds specifically to glycosaminoglycans, to collagen type 2, okay, and integrins. So chondronectin binds to glycosaminoglycans, collagen type 2, and integrins, mediating the adherence of chondrocytes to the extracellular matrix. هو ده اللي بيربط لنا الكوندروسايتس للإكستراسيلولار ماتريكس chondronectin because it binds to glycosaminoglycans, to collagen type 2 and to integrins. The chondrocytes. We finished the matrix. Now we shift to the other component, to the second component of the hyaline cartilage is chondrocytes. The chondrocytes in the hyaline cartilage, at the periphery of the cartilage, young chondrocytes or chondroblasts have an elliptic shape. Let's see. This is the periphery of the hyaline cartilage, perichondrium. This is the periphery, and in the middle, this is the center of the cartilage of the deeper part. Let's notice in the periphery we will see that the cells are elliptical shape. شكلها بيضاوي in the periphery, and they are almost isolated. Deeper in the cartilage, they are round and found in groups. يكونوا في شكل مجموعات and aggregates up to 8 cells. ممكن يحصلوا لغاية 8 cells بيكونوا مع بعض. They are called isogenous aggregates. The isogenous aggregates, they are common in the deeper part of the cartilage, the center of the cartilage. As the chondrocytes become more active in secreting the collagens and other extracellular matrix components, the aggregated cells بيقوموا بيتفرغوا. They are pushed apart and occupy separate lacunae. بعد ما كانوا متجمعين في aggregate واحد، عدد من الخلايا، بعد ما يبقوا active secrete more collagen, secrete more extracellular matrix، يقوموا بيتفرغوا، يتفصلوا من بعض، كل خلية تكون قاعدة في separate lacuna. زي ما شايفين هنا again in the image of hyaline cartilage, this is the peripheral part, and this is the central part or the deeper part of the cartilage. In the peripheral part, the cells appear elliptic in shape. In the middle or in the deeper part, they form groups of cells called isogenous aggregates. Okay. Once these cells become more active and producing more extracellular matrix and collagens, they separate, and each one occupy separate lacuna, like this and this. The chondrocytes, during routine histologic preparations, cartilage cells and the matrix, they often shrink, resulting in the irregular shape of the chondrocytes and their retraction from the matrix. اللي بيحصل إنه أثناء الروتين histologic preparations إنه الخلايا والماتريكس بيقوموا بتنكمش، والانكماش ده بيغير في شكل الخلايا، بتبقى irregular in shape وتبقى retracted from the matrix، منكمشة. السبب routine histological preparations, the solutions or solvents والprocesses that are done during the histologic preparations بتعمل كده. لكن normally in living tissue the chondrocytes should fill the lacuna. بتكون السيل مالية اللاكونة. And also in well prepared, properly prepared sections برضو بتكون fills the lacuna. ما بيكون في shrinking في ال properly prepared، يعني إذا sections اتجهزت بصورة كويسة. The chondrocyte synthesis of sulfated glycosaminoglycans اللي هي من الكومبوننتس بتاعت الماتريكس. sulfated glycosaminoglycans and secretion of proteoglycans are accelerated by many hormones and growth factors. يعني الشغل بتاع الكوندروسايتس دي synthesis of matrix, cellular matrix and components. يحصل له acceleration and control and regulation by many hormones يفرز الجسم and growth factors. And the major regulator of the hyaline cartilage growth is the growth hormone أو اسمه الثاني somatotropin. Growth hormone هو released by the anterior pituitary gland. So it regulates it is a major regulator of hyaline cartilage growth. So النمو بتاع الهايلاين كارتليج بيعتمد أو بيحصل له regulation بالجروث هرمون اللي هو الجروث هرمون acts on cells of the liver to release insulin-like growth factor. Insulin-like growth factor يؤدي لل differentiation of chondroblast to chondrocytes. So after we finish the matrix and the chondrocytes, the cells, let's discuss the perichondrium, which is the adjacent connective tissue surrounding the cartilage. Is the perichondrium, except in the articular cartilage of the joints, all hyaline cartilage is covered by a layer of dense connective tissue called the perichondrium. يعني موجود في كل الهايلاين كارتليج perichondrium ما عدا في الارتيكولار كارتليج بتاع joints ما فيه perichondrium. طيب وبرضه وين هنشوف لقدام انه في نوع من انواع الكارتليج ما عنده اللي هو الفايبروكارتليج هنتكلم عنه. Perichondrium is essential for the growth and maintenance of cartilage. البريكوندريوم بيحتوي على fibroblast and progenitor cells. The progenitor cells they act as precursors for chondroblast and chondrocytes. Perichondrium in hyaline cartilage, as we see in this histological section stained by H&E stain, we see here the perichondrium layer of dense connective tissue, and these elongated nuclei of dark structures, elongated structures are the nuclei of fibroblasts. In the middle here we'll see the chondrocytes. C stands for chondrocytes inside lacunae. Chondrocytes found inside lacunae. These are two chondrocytes together in one lacuna. Okay, and M stands for matrix. اللي هي in this region between the lacunae. So this is perichondrium, dense connective tissue. Perichondrium. The perichondrium consists largely of which type? Type 1, collagen and fibroblasts. It also consists of progenitor cells for chondroblasts that divide and differentiate into chondrocytes. Okay, so the perichondrium also فيه غير ال type 1 collagen fibers and fibroblasts فيه progenitor cells for chondroblasts. Chondroblasts differentiate into chondrocytes that divide and differentiate into chondrocytes. So we have finished in the previous slides the hyaline cartilage. We are moving to discuss the elastic cartilage. The elastic cartilage is essentially similar to hyaline cartilage, except that it contains abundant network of elastic fibers. دي الحاجة المميزة للإلاستيك cartilage إنه فيه abundant network of elastic fibers in addition to collagen type 2. As we see here on the right side in this image, histological section of elastic cartilage stained by hematoxylin and orcine stain, special stain called orcine. to demonstrate the elastic fibers. This C stands for chondrocytes and the M for the matrix, and we see these dark stained fibers are the elastic fibers. The elastic cartilage is found in the following areas in the body: the auricle of the ear, the walls of the external auditory canals, in the auditory tubes or Eustachian tubes, the epiglottis. Okay, auricle of the ear, the walls of the external auditory canals, the auditory tubes, and the epiglottis. And the cuneiform cartilage in the larynx. The other cartilages in the larynx are hyaline cartilage, except this one, the cuneiform cartilage in the larynx, okay, is elastic cartilage. The elastic cartilage in these locations includes a perichondrium similar to that of most hyaline cartilage. As we see in the image on the right side, this also histological section of elastic cartilage demonstrating the perichondrium at the periphery. Demonstration of elastic fibers usually requires stains, special stains, such as Orcine or Resorcine Fuchsin. On the left side, this is Orcine. On the right side, this is Resorcine Fuchsin. The left side is Orcine plus hematoxylate. Just to demonstrate the elastic fibers, because in the routine H&E stains, hematoxylin gene stains, they rarely be identified. So these are the special stains for demonstration of elastic cartilage or elastic fibers. So we finished in the previous slides the elastic cartilage and the hyaline cartilage. Now we are moving to discuss the fibrocartilage, the third form of cartilage. Fibrocartilage takes various forms, but is essentially a combination of hyaline cartilage and dense connective tissue together with gradual transition between these tissues. يعني هو خليط ما بين الاثنين hyaline cartilage تضيف عليه dense connective tissue بيناتهم هو في gradual transition انتقال تدريجي between these tissues. موجود وين؟ in the intervertebral discs, in the attachments of certain ligaments, and in the pubic symphysis. يعني اختصار most likely in the midline عشان تذكروها midline of the body, intervertebral discs, pubic symphysis, attachments of certain ligaments, any ligaments in the body. Okay, and the ligaments, which type of connective tissue is dense regular connective tissue, like tendons. So fibrocartilage, as it appears in this image. Okay, histological section of fibrocartilage. On the left side, A, we'll see C stands for chondrocytes. These are the chondrocytes here, and here you'll see a lot of chondrocytes cells. And D stands for dense collagen fibers, which appears red. Okay, and M stands for matrix between the lacunae. Here are the chondrocytes found inside lacunae. On the right side in this image, B, this is a higher magnification of fibrocartilage section. Okay, as we see, C stands for chondrocytes. These are chondrocytes, round structures, and M stands for matrix. These pale regions, red regions, are matrix. As we see here, these elongated structures are nuclei of fibroblasts. Here, here, and here. In fibrocartilage, the chondrocytes of fibrocartilage occur singly and in aligned isogenous aggregates and produce matrix containing type 2 collagen. يعني موجودة إما single cells أو في مجموعات isogenous aggregates and they produce matrix فيها type 2 collagen. In some fibrocartilage, this matrix around the chondrocytes is very sparse أو بيسموها territorial matrix, just immediately around the chondrocytes. As we see the matrix around the Laconi, and here the matrix around the Laconi, you see its coarse or sparse matrix. Regions with chondrocytes and hyaline matrix are separated by other regions containing bundles of type 1 collagen and scattered fibroblasts. يعني بيكون الكوندروسايتس حوالينا في hyaline matrix مباشرة surrounding الكوندروسايتس، وبينه وبين ال other chondrocytes بيكون في regions of في bundles of type 1 collagen and scattered fibroblasts اللي بيسموها ال interterritorial matrix. The matrix of fibrocartilage more acidophilic زي ما شفنا في الإيميج اللي فاتت than that of hyaline or elastic cartilage due to what؟ السبب due to the relative scarcity of proteoglycans زي ما قلنا في الهايلاين cartilage لأنه في proteoglycans كتيرة عشان كده بيظهر الماتريكس بيزوفيليك. في الفايبروكارتليج proteoglycans بسيطة relatively بالنسبة للهايلاين والإلاستيك بسيطة، وبالتالي بتكون الماتريكس بتاعت الفايبروكارتليج more acidophilic than those of hyaline or elastic cartilage. And in fibrocartilage there is no distinct surrounding perichondrium. Okay, as we see, D stands for dense collagen, and we see the matrix is more acidophilic. Okay, the matrix between the cells, between the chondrocytes, is more acidophilic. It appears red. The intervertebral discs of the spinal column are composed primarily of fibrocartilage. The function بتاعت the intervertebral disc act as a lubricated cushion. You know, it acts, fibrocartilage acts as a found in the intervertebral disc act as lubricated cushions and shock absorbers. Okay, lubricated cushions and shock absorbers to prevent adjacent vertebrae from being damaged by abrasive forces or impacts. ماس للصدمات بيحمي الفرتبرا من impacts and forces, damaging forces. Now we finished the three forms of cartilage, the hyaline, elastic, and fibrocartilage. Now we are moving to discuss the cartilage formation, how the cartilage is formed, how it grows, and how it will be repaired if it is damaged. طيب نبدأ بالcartilage formation. All cartilage forms from embryonic mesenchyme in the process of chondrogenesis. بيحصل له formation من الامبريونيك mesenchyme بالchondrogenesis. chondrogenesis ممكن نوضحه بالصور دي ابتداء من A to B, C and D. الصورة الأولى on the left side A نشوف mesenchyme. these are mesenchymal cells اللي هي دي بتشتغل as stem cells وبيحصل لها differentiation عشان تدينا chondroblast في الخطوة الثانية B. اوكي، بتتكون الكوندروبلاست بالميتوزيس وبيحصل لها early differentiation into chondroblast. يعني من mesenchyme يحصل الميتوزيس and early differentiation it forms the chondroblast. then chondroblast تعمل الخطوة الثالثة اللي هي تعمل production of various matrix components، تنتج لنا كميات من الماتريكس واللي هي بتخلي الخلايا بعد كده تتفرق من بعض. الخطوة الرابعة إنه each chondroblast، أي chondroblast قاعدة في لاكونة بيحصل لها division inside اللاكونة، بتتقسم داخل اللاكونة وبتديني تعمل لي الايزوجينوس cell aggregates، وبيحصل برضو more production of extracellular matrix components، بتبقى well developed matrix. okay, this is the process of chondrogenesis يعني باختصار. let's move to the cartilage growth. طيب بعد ما يتكون الكارتلج بينمو كيف؟ the cartilage tissue enlarges، بيكبر وينمو both by two types of growth. The first type is interstitial growth. Interstitial growth ده results from mitotic division of pre-existing chondroblasts. chondroblasts الموجودة أصلا يحصل لها mitotic division في محلها وتنقسم، ده بنسميه interstitial growth due to mitotic division of pre-existing chondroblasts. النوع الثاني من الجروث هو الابوزيشنال جروث. الابوزيشنال جروث بينتج من differentiation of new chondroblasts from the perichondrium، يعني يكون في perichondrium أصلا في الكارتلج، تمام، من اتجاه البريكوندريوم يحصل differentiation لنيو chondroblast يتكون، ده بنسميه appositional growth. okay, differentiation of new chondroblast from the perichondrium. أما الانترستيشيال من اسمه interstitial داخل الميتوتيك division of pre-existing chondroblast من الوسط، والابوزيشنال جروث بيجي من الأطراف لأنه من البريكوندريوم. In both cases the interstitial growth or the positional growth, the synthesis of the matrix contributes greatly to the growth of the cartilage. اللي هو صناعة تكوين الماتريكس ده أهم عامل في نمو الكارتلج، يعني بيشارك بصورة كبيرة جدا في نمو الكارتلج في الحالتين، في حالة الانترستيشال جروث أو الأبوزيشنال growth in both cases. طيب Oppositional growth of cartilage is more important during postnatal development، يعني بعد ما الفيتس يتولد after birth في postnatal period يحصل الجروث بالoppositional growth اللي هو this is more important for the early development of for the development of baby postnatal development. Interstitial growth in the articular cartilage and the epiphyseal plates of long bones. This is important in increasing the length of long bones. الاثنين بيكونوا ماشي مع بعض، لكن ال positional growth more important during postnatal development. okay. interstitial growth يحصل لنا في ال articular cartilage موجود في الجوينتس، يحصل في ال epiphyseal plates of long bones. ليه؟ الغرض منه شنو؟ to increase length of the long bones، عشان يزيد الطول بتاع long bones. واللي هو ده اللي بيكون السبب في زيادة طول الفرد أو الشخص. نجي للكارتريج ريبير. إذا حصل دامج للكارتريج يحصل ريبير كيف؟ except in young children، ما عدا في young children the damage cartilage. إذا حصل دمار في الكارتريج دي خلاص damage cartilage بيعمل شنو؟ undergoes slow and often incomplete repair. بيحصل له repair وإصلاح للدمار دي بصورة بطيئة وغير مكتملة primarily by activity of the cells in the perichondrium. الخلايا الموجودة في البيريكوندريوم زي ما بنتذكر قلنا البيريكوندريوم فيه progenitor cells which invade the injured area and produce new cartilage. ده اللي بيحصل بصورة بطيئة and result in incomplete أحيانا بيحصل incomplete repair. الكلام ده مستثنى منه اليونج children بيحصل فيهم repair بصورة أحسن. طيب in the extensively damaged areas إذا حصل دمار بصورة كبيرة جدا severe بيحصل شنو؟ The perichondrium produces a scar of dense connective tissue instead of forming new cartilage. بدل ما البريكوندريوم يعمل لنا new cartilage بيعمل شنو؟ بيجمع dense connective tissue بيعمل scar. السكار دي في الباثولوجي بتاخدوها لقدام اللي هي بتحصل زي ندبة بالعربي يعني. ف scar as a result of extensive damage مكونة من dense connective tissue بدل ما يعمل لنا new cartilage يعمل scar of dense connective tissue. وده بيحصل دايما مع ال extensive damage areas لما يكون في دمار شديد للغضروف الكارتلج. The poor capacity of cartilage for repair يعني اللي بيخلي الكارتلج ده إنه ما عنده المقدرة الكافية إنه يحصل إصلاح للدمار اللي بيحصل فيه is due partially to or in part to the avascularity of this tissue. لأنه السبب الأساسي في إنه الكارتلج has a poor repair is that it's avascularity. Okay, we have reached the end of this lecture. Let's summarize what we have learned in this lecture. We have learned the composition or the structure of the cartilage. كون من شنو؟ من chondrocytes, matrix، وقلنا إنه في 3 أنواع: hyaline cartilage, elastic cartilage, fibrocartilage، وإنه الهايلاين cartilage هو أكثر شيء عن the most common form ومكون من كولاجين تايب 2. الإلاستيك كارتلج بيفرق منه إنه في abundant network of elastic fibers بالإضافة للكولاجين تايب 2. والإلاستيك كارتلج بيكون موجود في الحتات اللي محتاجين فيها stretchability, extensibility, distensibility. الفايبر كارتلج مكون من coarse fiber or dense network of collagen type 1 بالإضافة طبعا collagen type 2 fibroblast chondrocytes. الماتريكس بتاعت الهايلاين كارتل برضو اتكلمنا عنها، اتكلمنا عن الكوندروسايتس. قلنا إن الكوندروسايتس في الهايلاين كارتل في البريفري بتكون شكلها elliptical، في الميدل بتكون راوند وبتعمل لنا aggregates تجمعات اسمها isogenous aggregates. والماتريكس مكونة من البروتيجلايكانز and glycoproteins اللي هم أشهرهم الأجريكان، هايليورونيك أسيد، كوندرونيكتين، كلها موجودة في الماتريكس بتاعت الهايلاين كارتلج. كوندرونيكتين برضو تكلمنا عن إنه في بيريكوندريوم موجود في كل الهايلاين كارتلجز، موجود في الإلاستيك، ما موجود بصورة واضحة، يعني ما موجود في الفايبروكارتلج، وما موجود البريكوندريوم غير موجود في الارتيكولار كارتلج في الجوينتس. بعد ذاك اتكلمنا عن الحتات الموجود فيها، ادينا أمثلة. الحتات الموجود فيها الهايلاين كارتلج موجود وين؟ زي ما قلنا في أشهر حتات اللي هي respiratory passages، التراكية، البرونكاي. موجود في الجوينتس في الارتيكولار كارتلج of movable joints synovial joints. في الكوستال كارتلج الياستيك كارتلج موجود في الاير auricle of the ear، في الاوديتوري tubes second tubes. الفايبروكارتلج موجود في الانترفيرتبرال ديسك، دي أشهر مثال يعني intervertebral disc. بعدين اتكلمنا عن الكارتلج فورميشن بيتكون كيف بالكوندروجينيسيس، اتكلمنا عن الكوندروجينيسيس وخطواتها. بعدين اتكلمنا عن الجروث، انه في نوعين من الجروث، في interstitial growth و oppositional growth. الانترستيشال جروث بيحصل بميتوتيك ديفيجن of pre-existing chondroblast. الكوندروبلاست الموجودة يحصل بها ميتوتيك ديفيجن وينمو الكارتلج، اسمه interstitial. وده بيساهم في نمو اللونج بونز، انه الانترستيشال جروث اللي بيحصل في الارتيكولار كارتلج وفي الابيفيزيال place of long bones important for increasing the length of the long bones. اتكلمنا عن النوع الثاني من الجروث اللي هو الابوزيشنال جروث، واللي هو ده بيحصل من جهة البريكوندريوم، اللي هو بيحصل differentiation of new chondroblast from the perichondrium. اوكي. بعدين اتكلمنا عن الريبير، وقلنا انه الكارتلج عموما has a poor capacity for repair. السبب انه هو avascular, lacks vessels, lacks also nerves and lymph vessels. ما فيه vessels، انما النيوتريشن بيحصل by diffusion from blood capillaries in the surrounding connective tissue. وإنه الريبير أحسن في اليونج children من الأدلتس. وعموما الريبير is poor in cartilage. أحيانا لما يكون في damage كبير في الكارتلج، the perichondrium will instead of forming new cartilage، بدل ما يعمل new cartilage يعمل scar of dense connective tissue. So this the end of this lecture. Thank you so much. Good luck. We'll meet next lecture inshallah in bone. We will discuss the bone. And thank you.